Hello, guys. Welcome to Average Joe Rants. I almost just said angry. That's going to be a copyright infringement if I do that. Um, yeah, I actually named the channel now. I uploaded the first video on the Ruby continuation, and it actually did get a couple of views. I'm actually really happy about that. Um, yeah, I'm actually surprised anybody even gave me the time of day. So yeah, thank you, two people who decided to view my video. I hope you liked what you watched. I really do. Um, but first, let's do a bit of an introduction before we get to the topic of today's rant. Um, like I said, this is Average Joe Rants. And it's the first video I'm actually going to be that I've said the name of the channel in. And I'm 32. I'm fat, bearded, and white. And, I'm anti-woke and anti-DEI. Like I said in the last video, if that one gets more popular, I used to be supportive of those causes, but I'll get to why I stopped later. All right. Today's topic is Hollywood and TV's. Let's just get out of the way. Them changing the skin color of some characters or changing their genders completely to have to serve a certain purpose or send a certain message. And for the most part, I'm not going to go into every goddamn movie that's done it because that would just be stupid. But I want to focus on one show in particular that I believe is very, very popular, even though it's been a while since there's been a season in it. Invincible. And it's not going to be like the last video where I got super angry. I'm going to get a little angry at some of the crap in this because some of it's just like it's very obvious that they changed the gender or the skin color for, well, DEI reasons. But anyway, before we get to the rant, I want to give a bit of context for those who somehow have not seen Invincible, though I do not blame you. It's on like Hulu Plus and shit. But Invincible is about this superhero named Mark Grayson, whose father is Nolan Grayson and is also called Omni-Man. And it turns out Omni-Man is actually a... Oh, you know what? Sorry about that. Spoilers. If you haven't seen Invincible yet, and I highly recommend you do, it is actually a great show. Even with the stuff I'm going to talk about, it is a great show, and I do recommend you check it out at your earliest convenience. Whether that's pirated or not is up to you. I'm not going to tell you to do that. In fact, if anything, I'm going to tell you to get a Hulu Plus subscription. So do that instead. Don't pirate it. Don't get me in trouble. But it's, you guys are your own people. You can do whatever the hell you want. Unless you're underage, in which case maybe ask your parents first. Well, if you're underage, why the hell you're watching my videos? I cuss a lot. Yeah, then again, the world's a lot different than when I was a kid. Anyway, back to the context. So Nolan Grayson is Omni-Man. He's Mark Grayson's dad, and Mark Grayson is Invincible. And it turns out Nolan is actually a huge piece of shit because he ends up killing his entire team called the Guardians of the Globe. And he essentially is doing it because he serves this race, the Viltrumite Empire, and the Viltrumites are basically this conquering race of aliens who, they believe in like the strong rule over the weak, and they think of it like their destiny to rule over the entire galaxy. Although, due to some other stuff I'm not really going to spoil, mainly because it kind of ruined the TV show for you guys. There are reasons why that's not going to be as easy as they might think. Mainly, this can be a short rant because I want to talk about two things, right? Two things. and that is the skin color change for a character named Amber, and a complete gender change and complete fate change for this person called Shrink Ray. Right? Shrink Ray being like one of the superheroes of the new Guardians of the Globe after they do tryouts and shit. Right? Okay. So let's start with Amber first. And it's sort of the reasons why I also said Hollywood and stuff, is because I'm so sick of Hollywood and these TV producers, and they like for the last 10 years, there's been this like huge thing of changing people's genders or their skin color. I'm focusing on skin color right now, but but it's always it's always obvious to me. Now Amber herself is not a terrible character. I'm not gonna say she is. In fact, you kind of feel sorry for her because her and Invincible end up getting into a relationship, and it's like because he's a superhero, he's not exactly around for her, and this ain't like Superman or fucking like Spider-Man where he's just like, oh honey, I'll just stop this train and then I'll come home for dinner. Like no, that's not how it works in the real world, and this is kind of a parody of the real world with superheroes. It's a lot more serious, so they don't spend as much time together. They do try to make it work, but obviously eventually they break up. But for some reason they changed her skin color, her personality, her everything, essentially. And you might be wondering, like, well, how do you know that? Or like you might, if you're extreme about it, you're like, oh, you're fucking lying. You're just a fucking racist or whatever. Well, Invincible started out as a comic book. And the character Amber in there was a ditzy blonde cheerleader. And, well, I wouldn't say ditzy. She's average intelligence. Right, she gets decent grades in school and shit, but she's not as smart as the Amber in the show is. That's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make there. And, it's sort of weird to do that personality change, mainly because of a few things. So, the Amber in the comic book kind of gets attracted to Mark because he starts actually getting stronger and stuff. Like he basically starts becoming like a jock kind of character. Obviously, he doesn't do all the jock shit, but he basically does the same thing in the show where he shows dominance towards this fucking bully, and Amber's like, yeah, he starts getting attracted to him purely for his fucking looks and strength. Essentially, like the whole cheerleader thing. So, oh, you're so strong. Why'd I go Russian there? What the fuck? Anyway, I don't know why I made her Russian. That was weird. Anywho, and by the way, it might not seem like that in the video, but the way I just did that accent in, like, from how I'm hearing it right now, it's like I went a little deep. Anyhow, and this is a problem for a few things, because the reasons why they break up with Mark are completely different. Like, Amber in the comics, she knows she got no fucking future in a college. Like, she's a ditzy blonde. Sorry, I keep saying ditzy. I'm doing that stereotype shit. Sorry. An average intelligence, blonde cheerleader type. Like, she ain't getting a fucking college degree. You know? It's so different from the Amber in the show, where they change her skin color and personality, where she's like... Sorry about that. I thought I heard a noise outside, and it's kind of sounded like someone was trying to break in. Turns out somebody was trying to take the fucking screen off my window. Good God. He got, as soon as I came out, though, he fucking ran away, though, so that's good. I'm definitely gonna have to get my freaking tire iron at the ready, though, I guess. Anywho, back to what I was saying about the whole skin color thing. So they changed up her personality completely differently here in the show. And she's smart. She's in college, obviously different from the comic book Amber. And she breaks up with Mark because she doesn't know if he's just gonna. Because she gets like scared by Anissa, which is like this Viltrumite that's sent out as a scout to basically threaten Mark to do his shit and do his part for the Viltrumite Empire because he's Nolan's son. And they actually acknowledge his potential. Like he's like hey, you actually survived our biggest warrior, our strongest warrior, your father, so you must have some sort of like potential. And they basically try to recruit him to take over the Earth. He obviously doesn't fucking do it. But yeah, Amber in the show gets threatened by Anissa, and yeah, and that just pretty much breaks her because she basically goes like, I don't know if I'm gonna be, I'm a weakness to you. I don't know if I'm gonna be killed because to just hurt you, right? So, and it's basically the same in the comic book, but it's more in like the comic book. Amber in the comic book kind of recognizes that she doesn't really have a future, and she can't really be the doting wife that Invincible wants or even needs. And obviously, he doesn't want that. He tries to tell her that. She's like, I don't really have a future. You're going to college. You're this huge superhero. There's really not really a reality where this can work. Right? And that's basically where the similarities kind of end for this moment because, like obviously they both break up with Mark just in different ways. There's actually a few things I want to talk about before I get to the whole gender thing with Shrink Ray. First off, the fight with Anissa goes very differently in the comic book. Keep in mind, Anissa, the breakup happens after the whole Anissa thing, right? So what ends up happening, Anissa beats Mark. There's no cruise ship or whatever. There's no fucking cruise ship. It's just them fighting. Mark loses, and Anissa in the comic book proceeds to rape him. And I wish I could put it some other way. But I'm not going to shy away around subjects like that. Because it is a horrible act. It is a horrible thing. But it's also like if you don't talk about it, how can you understand why it's such a horrible fucking thing? Right? It's like you're told it's horrible, but but yeah. Anissa rapes him, and it's horrible. It's awful. It basically breaks him. And then in the comic book, he goes to break up with the white blonde cheerleader Amber, and yeah, he's just a broken man from that point on. But like in the show, they always have the breakup, but the whole thing with Anissa doesn't. In fact, it goes very differently. She basically just threatens him and leaves. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna spoil the comic book a bit, because what ends up happening when Anissa, with Mark, she ends up getting pregnant. And later on in the comic book, she comes back and she's like, "Oh, you're a father," and of course he wants nothing to do with her because you know why. So it's just like that's one of the things in the show that obviously got cut, but it also the thing with like Amber because it's like later on also in the comic book with the white blonde Amber, he goes to visit her after the whole battle against the Viltrumites. Spoiler alert, weird. Mark goes to actually kick the Viltrumite Empire's ass like every other superhero story when there's a big ass villain. I don't think that's spoilers at that point. I think that's just expected of any superhero story, no matter how dark. But essentially, she gets in a boyfriend, and the boyfriend hits her. Like, he gives her a fucking black eye, and of course Mark goes and threatens her, not her, him, to treat her better, or he's gonna fucking kill him. And it's like, with the thing is that the problem becomes at that point, right? First off, with the whole, you know what? It's like the kid's not there in the show. They might make it so like Anissa and him might hook up later, maybe on maybe they get drunk or some shit. But the kid's not there at this point, right? The you know what, baby. And I know I just said I'm not gonna shy away from subjects like that, but I also don't want to just keep saying that word. That's more of a personal thing. Um, Not really a YouTube related thing. Anyway, but yeah, the baby's just not there at this point in time, and it's really strange. But I'll get in. I'm not gonna get into that because there's a whole rabbit hole within this, so I could go fucking into. But for the most part, that's pretty much the thing with Amber. It's like there's no way in hell they're gonna be able to do a black eye on a black person, a black female like that. They're not gonna get. They wouldn't be able to get away with it, no matter how much people like the fucking show. So it's like that whole. I'm gonna guess that whole thing that happens. It's just there's gonna be like another reason. Like he screams at her. Like it's gonna be this arbitrary freaking reason for Mark to threaten him. Like, oh, he verbally abuses me or something. And it's like that's not like that's still a reason to give someone shit, but it definitely wouldn't be a reason to threaten to kill him. It would more be it. You talk to them obviously, and if need be, you'd have them arrested for harassment. But it wouldn't be a reason to threaten to kill him. It's not a strong enough reason. A strong enough reason is what happened to the comic book Amber, where she got a freaking black eye. You know, because obviously Mark still thinks of her as like a friend, and obviously he still has some feelings for her because it was like one of his first girlfriend ever. So obviously he's gonna take fucking issue with that. But it's like, how are they gonna do this now? When now they've changed the personality, and you know, is it even gonna happen? Is what I'm thinking. It probably isn't, because again they would get so much shit for it. Probably be a lot of people being like, "Oh, well, Mark's a good person for defending her like that," but there'd be so many other people just being like, "How dare you guys do violence against a black woman?" You know, even if it's like she gets a better life because Mark threatens the dude, it's like it's still like they're just gonna be angry about that one thing. Anyhow, going off of that, no, because that's pretty much all there is to say about that. Just some continuity issues I foresee, and honestly, I feel like they're not even going to do it. Let's talk about Shrink Ray. Okay? Shrink Ray is a superhero who can shrink and enlarge. Alright, it's sort of like Ant-Man, if that was the closest thing you could get. Which I should probably mention, by the way, that the people who made Invincible, Dark Horse, the head dude there actually used to write for like Marvel and DC. He actually worked at both, believe it or not. So he just basically made superheroes pretty much the same. Like, obviously Omni-Man is like Superman. The stretchy alien dude is like Martian Manhunter. You know, or Mr. Fantastic from Marvel. It just goes on and on. The Monster Girl's Hulk. Or Thing. Is there an equivalent in DC? I guess Solomon Grundy in DC would be Monster Girl. Monster Girl being this other superhero that got cursed by a witch and she's able to turn into a monster. That's basically it. Anyway, back to Shrink Ray. Sorry, I get off track. I have ADHD and autism. So it's like I'm going to sometimes go off track and then rewind about and get back on track. It happens. It's one of the reasons why I made this rant channel is mainly because I know that happens, and it really does help me get my thoughts back on track if we go on that little detour. So please be patient with me. Thank you. Anyway, Shrink Ray. Shrink Ray might be the... Okay, because there's a lot to unpack with Shrink Ray. Well, let's talk about the fact that they changed her gender, because she was a dude in the comic book. Not only that, but he was an important dude. Like, I think he was in one issue, and that was the issue where the Lizard League attacked the Guardians of the Globe. Lizard League being this, like, other group that hates the Guardians because of, like, they just stopped them multiple times throughout the years, and then this is their first time tussling with the new ones. Right? So, you know, they changed her gender to a chick. Sorry, his gender to a chick. In the show, for what I can honestly see, no real reason. I'm gonna talk about that, right? I'm gonna talk about that, about why there's not really a reason beyond what I'm gonna get into later, right? So, Shrink Ray gender gets changed to a chick. And then the whole Lizard League fight happens, right? And it's like she dies, right? Supposedly. And then once the Lizard League is beaten or killed or whatever, she comes out of the eye of this one big ass lizard dude. I don't remember his name because I haven't seen that episode for a while. So they don't really mention crap like obviously it's a superhero show. So if a villain gets killed off, they're not gonna really mention this as like a flashback. I can mention the name or some shit. But anyway, comes out of this big ass lizard dude's like eye, right? She's obviously extremely injured. She's extremely, well, you know, she's fucked up. Like she's got to go to the hospital, get physical therapy, all that crap. What ends up happening is that sorry, this is the part where I'm gonna actually get kind of angry. Because I give her way too much importance in season 3. Because the reason I say that is because in the comic book, the dude Shrink Ray died against Lizard League. And he doesn't come back. Like, they just kill him off. He's literally a one comic book character. They just kill him off completely. And the reason why I personally think Shrink Ray was changed to a chick and was given much more significance beyond, dying is just to be Rex Explode's girlfriend. Like, his love interest for like 2 to 3 episodes in season 3. Not even like a significant amount of time. Like, it actually is funny. It's actually probably the same amount of time in those 2 or 3 episodes as it would take to read that comic book. Like, the whole comic book where Shrink Ray died. Like, I legitimately think, because I think it was actually a visual novel thing, where it was like this huge book. This huge big ass book. Right? So it's, I don't know. So she becomes like Rexplode's girlfriend. Rexplode being this other superhero that makes shit explode. His name is Rex. That's Rexplode. That's the most basic way I can do it. I can describe that dude. And then spoiler alert, Rexplode dies against like these invincible variants that this dude named Angstrom Levy brings forth through portals. And I'm not gonna describe every fucking character in these rants. I'm not. I'll give a basic description of every character, if it in a TV show or a video game or whatever that I'm ranting about, but I'm not going to go into detail. So long story short, with Angstrom, he hates Mark. He has like powers that can reach into other worlds and dimensions and bring shit in and bring shit out. Like basically, if he wants to kill, like one of the episodes, like he basically throws Mark through a bunch of dimensions where he meets like Dinosaur, Spider Man, and actual Batman. Of course, they don't call him Batman, but they insinuate like, "Oh, your name's kind of stupid. Like, you like bats, and you're a man. So why'd you make that your name? You know, like that type shit." Um, but yeah, like she doesn't really have a lot of significant. Like they give her so much more significance in the show than the comic book. And the only reason I can think of in like both of these cases is you're serving some sort of like cause or like activism. And the problem is like it's minor this time. It's not like with Ruby in that last video. It's minor this time. Like it doesn't really change a lot of important shit. In fact, I would even argue that the Anissa stuff is way more important because there's like a whole arc with their like kid, like with Mark and Anissa's kid. Like there's a whole thing about it, right? So I would actually argue with myself at this point and say like that's more significant than what I'm actually talking about. But I also feel like there's like choices made here that just it's the weirdest form of activism when it comes to like media because it's lazy. It really is like you're just changing someone's skin color for the and personality for the fuck of it because you don't want to be seen as like I don't know, racist or bigots, or you have people on the writing team that's like, oh, we need to change this character because she's too white or something like that. Like, I don't get it. I'm not really angry about it because honestly, the characters are good characters, but I feel like it's needless, it's worthless, it's useless. You would get the same result keeping the same characters the same way they were, like making Shrink Ray a dude and just having him die in the Lizard League fight. Because again, they give her far more significance, and it seems like her only real defining trait at that point is getting into this relationship with fucking Rex, and that's it. And have like an extra scene at Rex's funeral where she's like crying behind a tree. Like, oh, fucking thanks a lot. You don't want to say anything about your boyfriend of like maybe 2 days? Like, oh my god. That actually is the truth. It's like 2 days. Like 2 days between the whole Invincible variant thing and them getting together. It's literally the span of 2 fucking days. So uh, it's the worst kind of activism in my opinion when it comes to this kind of stuff in the media. Because it's like you're not even trying to create a new character. You're just changing an old one to what you perceive to be correct, and that's not it. All you prove with that is you piss people off who actually know the truth about this shit. It's like when you had the Tower movie, right, with Stephen King back in the day. They changed the main character from this fucking white drunken cowboy with a heart of gold to this fucking black dude who's all serious and shit. Oh, and you cut out the part with the fucking racist as fuck black woman in a wheelchair with multiple personality disorder. That was actually the best character in the fucking books. By the way, that was one of my favorites because he was just a wild card. Like, oh my god. We read those books, by the way. Um, I don't know. There's not really much else to say here because it's not really worth getting mad about. But at the same time, I feel like if I don't say something about it, yeah, it's one of the many people who probably speak out about this. I'm not sure, but it's needless to do this shit. Like you don't need to change someone's gender to prove a fucking point or to like it. It boggles my brain. It's one of the reasons why I want to make the rant about this because I'm thinking about this while I'm doing the fucking dishes and like just in my kitchen, and I'm just like, wow, these characters really didn't have a purpose beyond what they eventually gave them. Because obviously Amber's not going to get into a fucking abusive relationship in the show. Shrink Ray's obviously probably now fucking defunct. Because her purpose, let's say find something else for her, is gone. So then you get into like this fucking trap where you don't really have a plan for these characters past what, because all you did was you put a new skin color on one of them and you changed the gender of the other. And then you made the other one live for some fucking reason. There was no need for that. I'm not going to advocate for the death of a character, obviously, but that was sort of a reason why Shrink Ray in the comics died. There was, like, he was so uninteresting. Like, there wasn't really a purpose for him other than just to die. So, like, for me, it's just weird to have a character have a purpose beyond that. What they should have done, honestly, is just make a new character completely. Feel like that would be more socially acceptable than just to change up an old character for the fucking sake of it. Like, you could have made her, like, it'd be cool? Could have made a female character that lights on fire. Like, if we're going to go the Marvel DC route and stealing shit, make, like, a Human Torch-like character. Right? That'd be kind of cool. Maybe she kisses Rex explode and then he blows out smoke. And he makes a joke about it, like, ooh, spicy. Like, that kind of shit. You know? I don't know. I'm just putting out ideas here because I really don't see a purpose in changing skin color and changing genders of people other than just to do the whole activism thing and the DEI thing. I don't. Okay? Because it legitimately, to me, is the most worthless, useless form that can take. Anyway. Thank you for anybody who is going to watch this video. Thank you very, very much for watching. I do appreciate the views whenever I can get them. And if you like my stuff, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And please share. The more people are exposed to my content, the more views I can get. The more views I can get, the more money I can start getting from YouTube. And the more money I start getting from YouTube, I can start putting towards making the channel better for you guys. Alright? I know that seems like a little begging or whatever. I'm really not trying to do that. I'm just, any money I make, one of the things I promise myself when I decide to do this YouTube channel is any money I make is going to go towards the channel. And I want to donate most of it to charity, to help people. Because this is something I want to do. Anywho, sorry, I'm my brain's a little melted right now from the rant. That's basically it. I'll see you guys next time for the next rant. I made this one simply because it came to me at the time. That's how most of these videos are going to go, is I'm going to think about something to rant about, and then I'm going to rant about it, and then I'm going to upload the video to YouTube. At least that's how it's going to go right now. If it does well, I might do video game reviews, reactions, stuff like that. Alright? So I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys have a great night, if that's when you're watching this. And just, be you. Be the best person I know you can be. Alright? Logging off.